Hello you pretty little poison sacks, Jim Sterling here, and this is The Division. It is Ubisoft's MMO light cover-based shooter, and it's okay. It's alright, isn't it? I don't know what else to say about it, if I'm perfectly honest with you. I've been playing it all day, and I'm committed to playing a lot more of it before I do an official review or anything like that, of course, but having spent a day with it, I'm wondering if there's anything it's going to do to surprise me beyond this. It's not offered me much. It's a cover-based MMO-like shooter that's okay, and that's about it. I've spent all day hiding behind walls and popping off the same blokes over and over again. And sometimes the blokes have shields, sometimes the blokes have baseball bats. Most of them have guns. This one's got a flamethrower. This one who I kind of weirdly walked into on the way down the stairs. And outside of that, I've not seen much else. They're all meat shields, so they all take a day and a half to kill. I mean, that's one thing I've learned about the game is it's almost necessary to play with other people if you're going to get enjoyment out of it, because otherwise it's tedious going through all these enemies. You know, these ones with the red health bars, these are standard, and they're like chopping down a tree, to say nothing of these purple ones and the yellow ones that have shielding and everything. And it's not fast-paced or anything like that. It is a methodical shooter that doesn't do much to ever change its tempo. I've spent all day doing what you're seeing here. And, you know, it's a cover-based shooter. You expect to do a lot of that in a cover-based shooter, but even as far as cover-based shooters go, I'm struggling to find much variety. Oh, here's me getting stuck on a wall. There's a bit of variety. I got stuck on this wall in this bit of cover, was trying to get out, and the only way to get out was, as you see there, was to get knocked into a down state. Get back up again, that's fine. Thank you, Jago, for reviving me. But yeah, I got stuck on that wall because, needless to say, this is an Ubisoft game, and therefore, it's buggy as hell. That's one of the bugs. There is a thing that's being called the laptop bug. I don't know if it's got an official name or not, to be honest, but I've certainly started calling it the laptop bug. It's in the very first real mission of the game, where you've got to use a laptop to activate your agent in the first safe house you find. And sometimes the laptop doesn't seem to work. And I had to log out and log back into the game in order to get it to work so I could activate my agent and actually undertake any other missions in the game. VG Tom O, that's Tom Ori from Video Gamer TV, he can't even get that far. He's actually given up for the night, tried logging out, tried all different things to get the laptop to work, but he's stuck in that first safe house in the game because he can't activate the agent and progress the mission. And of course there's server errors because it's a AAA game with an always online requirement, so that's going to happen a lot. You can look forward to that at launch. I'm sure that bit will improve with time. One weird error I've noticed is enemies glitching around the map. They'll sort of glitch in and out of existence, and sometimes their damage will lag, where you'll be stood there shooting them for ages and they won't react to it, and then suddenly, after you've dumped half your ammo into them, all that damage will stack up at once and they'll keel over and die. That was a weird one, but there you go. Now, I'm not saying the game's bad. I've not had a bad time with it today. I've not even been overly bored. I'll say I've not been especially stimulated by it, but I haven't been like, oh god, kill me now, let's stop playing this, I want to play literally anything else. Like I said, it's very playable, in the same way that Anaconda is a watchable movie. You know, I'll watch Anaconda if it's on TV. I'll not have a bad time with it. I wouldn't buy it for $60 with a season pass if it came out with a special edition director's cut DVD. Should have said Blu-ray there, but I said DVD. I don't know why. This door stopped working there. I walked away from the door and then the door reopened after it had let the other people through. So that's something that happened. There you go. You might recognise this area when I covered the beta of the game. I did this mission there. It's not the entirety of the video, but I did like it. I liked the mission, this mission, or rather this iteration of the mission, because it went so well. And I thought, you know, I'll keep that. You know, it was going well up until that bit where I got glued to the wall, but outside of that, it was okay. But this is the last part of that mission. It's one of the early missions. It's more or less a wave-based thing as waves of enemies come in. This is one of the factions in the game, the Cleaners. You've got the Cleaners and the Rikers. They're the two main ones I've seen so far. They're not that distinct. They're pretty generic gangs in masks, you know. The Cleaners, they like to use flamethrowers a lot. Yeah. It's alright. See, this is the trouble, is I really have run out of opinions for it. Because, like I said, it doesn't give me much to say outside of, yeah, it's alright. And I've put down half an hour of footage here, so I'm going to be regretting that. I mean, how much have we done so far? I mean, just something was covering up the timer. We're 6 minutes, almost 6:30 in. And so we've got quite a journey ahead of us. Quite a journey. Oh, yes. This is also the third time I've tried to record this, because the footage, for some reason, keeps blanking out on me while I'm trying to talk. So I don't know why it's doing that, but it is. And that's something I have to deal with now. So that's good. Watched the final episode of Bad Politics Man last night. Got through season 4. God, it was a good season. I think it might be my favourite season. Definitely the best one since the first season. You know, season 3 was not altogether entertaining. Now, it was narratively important, and it was very important to highlight exactly what kind of character the Bad Politics Man is. But it was somewhat of a slow and depressing pace, on purpose. And season 4 was just, it was relentless, did not stop. The final shot of that season, fucking chills down the spine. Loved it. Anyway, back to the game. It's enough of Bad Politics Man. This is a boss. It's again the boss you saw in the beta, but this time I've brought friends, or well, acquaintances anyway, allies, in-game allies, to say the least, and indeed the most. I very daringly jumped down there to rescue the partner. That's me, just in the line of fire, face of danger. Because I'm selfless like that, and practically heroic. Drawing aggro from the boss here, before running away bravely. Running past my comrades in the hopes that he'd latch onto them. Which is a multiplayer tactic that has often served me well in games. It goes down to that old adage of, you know, I don't have to outrun the bear, I just have to outrun you. So, that was me outrunning the bear there. It's one of my favourite things to do. Although that flamethrower is still after me. It's quite a big old flamethrower and all. And then that tank blew up in my face. Classic. But it's fine. That's me using my Healy ability there. I've been focusing mostly on the medical side. There are three things you can upgrade your base with. 3 departments. You've got tech and security and health, medical. And, you know, I'm always interested in the healing and medic kind of character classes and stuff, so I focused on that. To be honest, the abilities aren't all that exciting. They're all fairly standard, you know. With medical, I just get some cool healing stuff. That heal ability I've got mapped on L1 heals not only me, but anyone near me. It's got a little area of effect, and you can fire it like a gun and get its AoE over somewhere if someone's far from you and they need it. It's alright. It's alright. Again, like everything in this game, you know, it's alright. Things are fine. Not really got a problem with any of it. Shouldn't have kept this bit of footage. There's no action here. The mission's over. This is just a waste of time, this bit. So here's a new mission. I decided to cut that footage that I had kept in unnecessarily. So we're here on the Lincoln Tunnel now, just tunneling away with Lincoln. Having a giggle. Hiding behind a car. Doing more of the hiding behind things and shooting the guys who are also hiding behind things. Although sometimes they've got baseball bats and don't hide behind the things, which I always find rude in a game. When a game sets itself out to be a very distinct thing, where it's like, no, you are in cover or you will die. The game says that more or less. It's like, always stick to cover, stay in cover, this is a cover-based shooter. And then throws flamethrower soldiers at you, and dudes with baseball bats, and grenades that constantly throw you out of the cover. That's just rude. I always found that very impolite. That's why I didn't like the first Mass Effect game, where it was once tried to be this methodical cover shooter and then throw tons of enemies at you that launched themselves towards you to hit up range, like in close range. I found that very rude game. So here we are, just shooting more folks, more fellas. These ones have hats, so that's how we know they're different from the cleaners. These, I believe, are the Rikers. They might not be. I mean, they're all just people in hats and masks and jeans, you know. Green rope, you can climb up that. Which I demonstrate here, climbing up the rope. With my guy who doesn't look like Geddy Lee, but has round glasses on. So that if you squint, you can kind of try and convince yourself you made Geddy Lee. To be honest, there's not a lot of variety in the character creation, even. Just some preset faces that are quote-unquote randomised, and not many hairstyles, and couldn't get anything for fucking masks. I've not seen any masks, except on the enemies. And you know me, I love masks. I'm a big fan of in-game masks. Garden Warfare 2 has masks. I am playing with the tennis star, which is one of the characters in Garden Warfare 2, and that class has a jockstrap mask. The All-Star class has a jockstrap mask, so my tennis variant of the All-Star has a jockstrap covering its nose and mouth. It's disgusting, but it's a mask. And isn't that the important thing at the end of the day? Yes, it is. Thank you for asking. I've really run out of things to say at this point. I mean, congrats if you're still with us. I say that a lot. I think that speaks volumes as to how boring and rubbish and pointless my content is. Or at least my insecurity about that. That I feel the need to keep pointing it out, even though it may not necessarily be true. Who's to say? There are arguments on both sides. Here I am, flanking. That's a strategy that I have done. It's alright. Weapons have some really dodgy recoil. They are hard to control and hard to keep a bead on someone. Which, unfortunately, tends to make the game even less exciting when you find that the most efficient way of dealing with enemies is to get behind cover, then pop up and, like, get the reticule sort of vaguely on them, then pop up and aim quickly because then it'll snap to them and get a little bit of auto-aim going. And if you just keep doing that, like, every second or two, just up, shoot, down, up, shoot, down, up, shoot, down, it's way more efficient. In fact, I kind of have to just make things a bit more exciting, albeit less efficient for myself, by often wandering up to them and trying to run around and try and make it a bit more dynamic for myself, which, again, is not the best way to play the game, but it's something to do. And it really sounds like I'm down on the game, and I'm not down on it. I don't hate it, but, you know, I bought it for 60 buckos this morning, and There are better things to get. There are better things to get. I think that's what it comes down to is, you know, we're talking about people complaining about No Man's Sky being $60. On the Jimquisition we talked about that this week, and probably get a lot more out of that than I have out of this so far. And again, I could be surprised. Like I said, I've probably just scratched the surface of what content it is there, but it's like, is the content just more of the same? Is it just nebulous collecting and endless shooting, or is there something else? Who's to say? I mean, there have been some missions that aren't combat oriented. Some of the side missions I've you know, gone into buildings to research like virus things, which is just, you know, running up to certain boxes in rooms and activating them. And there was one that was kind of this really dull fucking climbing on rooftops and almost like environmental puzzles, but with this game's controls and movement, which isn't fun. Just trying to find a way up to the top of a building to collect something. Just, it wasn't that compelling. Which I think is you know, going to be this game's biggest problem, is it set itself up to be this dense MMO, you know, this RPG, but it's got the gameplay of one of those kind of general third-person shooters that outstay their welcome after 6 to 8 hours, you know. And even then, like I say, like Gears of War is faster than this. It's got more enemy types. It's got a lot more flexibility in terms of what you can do in the game. You know, this might have leveling and grinding and abilities and all that stuff, but it feels very, very walled garden-y, very, very linear, very highly structured to a fault. You know, you can spend half an hour with it, and then you just intimately know, like, how this is gonna go. It's like, I know what I can and can't do now. I know that there are certain types of gameplay that I'm just not gonna get out of this. You know, I know that the skills that I'm unlocking, you know, this L1 and R1 based abilities you can unlock, are not going to dramatically affect the gameplay. They're very subtle. There's just, like, I don't get excited when I level up, because it's not gonna change the game for me. And then at least that's what I've learned so far. That's been my first impressions, if you will, of the game. But I could be proven wrong. It could suddenly, I could go back to it next session and it could blow my fucking bollocks off. But I'm kind of not expecting it to. Which ain't the best first impression to give, you know. But again, I must reiterate that I'm sounding really harsh on it. But, you know, after playing the beta, and I didn't play the beta for very long, so I thought, you know, that was just a bit of a taste of what's to come, and I was kind of excited for it. And I guess seeing the full game is just more of that, I'm a little bit, you know. It's not like I didn't... It's not like you couldn't reasonably have expected that. But it still is a bit... You know, I hoped that maybe there'd be a bit more to the MMO thing than just having other players. And requiring other players because the enemies have health bars that, you know, turn even the most generic mob into a meat shield. And it's just dull to get through all this on your own. Like this, on my own, I'd have hated it. And it is very geared towards this kind of cooperative play. Anytime I've tried playing the game on my own, I genuinely don't have a good time. You know, at least when I'm here with other players, I feel somewhat still invested in the game and still, you know, into it. You know, I've played truly mediocre games that have made me so utterly bored that I don't want to play it again, ever, after just like 15 minutes. And this isn't that. Again, I've got to say, like, I've had my day with it so far, and it's been fine. It's been fine. Some nice lighting there. It was a weird story this morning. I don't know if you saw that, but I didn't know about the story to begin with. But apparently Ubisoft had said at some point that you could turn the lighting off, or tweak the lighting settings on console to improve the frame rate, because obviously this game runs at a quote-unquote cinematic 30 frames per second on PS4 and Xbox One. But apparently at some point Ubisoft had said there's going to be options where you can play with the lighting so that you get a better frame rate. And I guess the assumption there is, we could have had 60 FPS. But apparently you looked in the menus today, and on Xbox One and PS4, there's no option to fiddle with the lighting or anything like that. So, maybe someone misspoke. Certainly don't believe Ubisoft would have lied. They've never done that. I don't know if you call the sarcasm there. They do it all the bloody time. I mean, what's that other thing recently? Was Ubisoft misquoting like acclaim for the game? Like, critics had said things and they took the quotes out of context to make it look like, it was getting better critical praise than it had gotten. I need to look into that. Like, I do fuck Konami news on the Jimquisition, when really, like, I could do that for so many publishers. I mean, that would have made... I wish Konami had lied about reviews and made some dishonest banner ads, because that would have made a great fuck Konami news section. Maybe I need to do a Pubisoft or something. Where you gotta be joking, soft. That doesn't work at all. That don't work at all. Anyway, this is a boss. It's another boss. He's got yellow health, which means he'll take a long time, and little white dots, which are shielded bits. You can see there, look, you got to chew through all the white dots before you can get to the juicy yellow healthy centre, which takes forever. Which is another reason why I'm glad that I get to, that I've been playing all this online. It's just a shame that when you go online, when you join a party, the loading takes a long fucking time. Fast travel, the loading takes a long fucking time. There's a lot of loading in the game. That's another issue it has. This game has a lot. Let's be honest, this game has a lot of fucking issues. I've spent, what are we at now? Almost 24 minutes complaining about everything, while still trying to say, oh no, it's alright, it's alright. Which is true, it is alright, but I can't deny that I've got a lot of fucking complaints about it. I've got a lot of this ain't that good, And I so far I wouldn't say the game is good. It is so far at best okay. And that is my first thoughts on it. And I will be spending pretty much, I mean, this is my week. This is what I'm looking at all week, in between, video editing and all that stuff, and podcasts and whatnot. This is me for the week. And, I'm not dreading it. I'm not looking forward to it either, but that's not in a way to suggest that, I'm rolling my eyes and gritting my teeth at the thought. I'm just not excited about it. It is what it is. This is just something I have to play. And if I didn't have to play this, because, it's the job I've taken upon for myself. That wasn't right. I should have just said taken upon myself. If this isn't the job I chose to do, I wouldn't do it, But, I am my own boss, and my orders to myself are play The Division, write a review of it on thejimquisition.com, do a video of it on YouTube. So that is the job I'm doing, and if that was not my job, I'd just be playing Garden Warfare 2 all day. That's honestly what I'd rather be doing, because I love Garden Warfare 2. I did sneak a bit of it in today while this was installing. Because it did that thing where it's like, oh, you can play it for a bit, but we're still downloading stuff in the background. And you know what? I honestly wish games wouldn't do that. I find sometimes they don't even warn you and it's confusing. Like, again, talking about Garden Warfare 2, that's what happened. They gave you this, like, awful first impression of the game. Because it put you into this tiny little repetitive series of submissions where you can only play the Citron character. And you get stuck in this loop of content. And it doesn't warn you what's happening, that you can't do anything. Because it's still loading stuff, like, still downloading and installing stuff. Fucking hate that. Or like when a Dynasty Warriors game says it's ready to be played. And it's not, because you boot it up and all the menu options are greyed out till it's finished downloading, and I find that so shitty. And this did it. Once you are done with the Brooklyn area, I had to wait 2 hours to get into Manhattan and play the game properly. So, think about that. I honestly would rather do without the... Like, there was that whole promise at the beginning of the generation with Sony saying, oh no, you can start playing the game while it downloads. How awesome is that? And it turned out that wasn't really true, was it? You get weird little demo-y things, like in Star Wars Battlefront, where you've just got this endless, boring mode with Darth Vader. It's almost like a mini-game, like a loading screen mini-game. But not that, because Namco would have sued a year or two ago. They can't anymore. I believe they lost that patent, but at least that's what I heard. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Anyway, did we kill the boss here? Yeah, we killed the boss here. So that's good. To be honest, I was getting into my own conversation there. I think we pulled it out in the end. I think I had a nice chat with everyone, which was mostly done by ignoring all of the footage that I've captured and just banging on with my own stupid fucking opinion. Which is itself a valuable form of content. And I think I'm going to wrap up here because there's no more combat. This is just the end of mission stuff. So thank you for sticking with it. Oh dear. No, thank you for enjoying it. And that's presumptuous. Maybe you didn't enjoy it. Maybe you're not even watching anymore. But if you are, thank you. Just thanks. That's what I'm trying to say. And to be honest, at this point, I want to just get this to a nice, neat 30 minutes. If I can get this video like exactly 30 minutes, that'd be awesome. Like 3000. But on reflection, that's just too much effort. So I'm just gonna stop. Bye.